Cool. I'm live. Both places. Okay. I think I want to gonna lift this up. Want this to be higher. Hi everyone. What's up? Give me a second. Um, I am live on 2 different platforms, just to let everyone know. So it may be like there may be times I'm responding to a comment or something like that, and um you may not understand what I'm talking about. That means I am probably just responding to something someone has said on the other platform. So, anyway, hey, what's up? What's going on, everyone? For those of you that don't know me, my name's Sammy. I'm a Shadow Alchemy Guide. I'm the founder of Mystic Shadows. And my background on my other there, that's cooler. That's a little better, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to get a cooler part and keep me in the video and be on showing up on both of my devices. Anyway, we're gonna have a really awesome conversation today. It's really fucking badass. I just went live for like over an hour on Facebook, but I'm cutting this one down because I cannot be that long. And I gotta remember to not use that word on here. Anyway, what's up? Today we're talking about the dragon doesn't need to die. Spoiler alert, I am talking a little bit about the new season of House of Dragons that just came out. If you don't watch it, no big deal. You're not going to be lost. If you do watch it and you haven't watched it, you might want to save this, but I'm not doing like a recap or a review or anything like that. There's just some themes that happen that I want to talk about. So, yeah, I'm not doing my usual like type of teaching that I would do today. Today's going to be a little bit different. I really want to talk about some shit that has been on my mind lately. And like I said, I'm going to talk about a couple of moments from the first 2 episodes of the new season of House of Dragons because it really fucking hit, guys. This was badass. And man, it got me thinking. So, yeah, like I said, it's not really a review of the show. You don't need to watch this for this conversation to make sense to you. The show just gave me a really powerful visual for something that I have been thinking about in my own life and my teaching and my work for a really long time. Like I said, I am on 2 different platforms right now. I see Or's in the background. Oreo is hanging out with us today. But yeah, this is gonna get interesting. So bear with me, hang out with me for a bit. This is gonna be a really fucking awesome talk. So if you don't watch the show, like I said, no worries. You're not gonna be lost. This is more about healing than anything. But um also, like I said, I'm streaming this multiple places. So if you get confused, just give me a minute and we'll jump back into it. So I finally started the new season of the House of Dragons yesterday. I've been rewatching the last 2 seasons. And there are 2 things that I can't stop fucking thinking about that were really, really awesome. And the second is dragons themselves. I love fucking dragons. Is what's crazy is right before I started watching House of the Dragons, I signed up for this Dragon Summit, and I'm learning to work with dragons more right now in my spiritual work. So, pretty badass that this came up because I made a really badass image of me on a fucking amazing looking dragon. It's pretty awesome. So, yeah, I'm deeply connecting with dragons lately. But yeah, let's talk about this. The first thing that we're going to talk about is Rhaenyra and the bloody footprints that she left as she, if you want to call it, walked to the throne. And the second is the dragons, like I was saying. So it's really about their power, their beauty, their wildness, the way that they can form a relationship with someone without ever becoming truly tame. Those 2 things came together in my mind and they made me think about what reclaiming our power actually looks like. Because we love talking about our reclaiming our power in the spiritual world, right? Like everybody's fucking talking about taking their power back, choosing yourself, holding the boundary, speaking the truth, remembering who the fuck you are. Because that's my whole thing. This is all survival identities. We've got to uncover who we are underneath all of this. And that's fucking awesome. When we talk about healing, we talk about taking our power back. We talk about taking the throne. We talk about being sovereign. That's all great. I believe in all of that wholeheartedly, completely. I've taken my power back, obviously. This is a huge, huge part of the work that I do. But I think that, especially in the spiritual community, not so much with me, but a big part of the spiritual community, they want to make taking your power back sound so fucking beautiful and triumphant. Like we're waiting on this red carpet to be rolled out for us. Like you're going to be glammed up wearing your dream dress, hair flowing, like feeling your best with this gorgeous smile on your face. Everything is perfect. You're walking to your throne. You're taking your power back. That is what I feel like the healing community has us envision, right? Which is awesome. That's pretty cool. I like it. But is it really that? Mm, I don't know. We make it sound this like this really beautiful, triumphant thing. And I love that. But the moment that you choose yourself, this is, hold on, let's go back to the moment that we're imagining real quick. Okay. We imagine this moment that we choose ourselves and this music starts playing and the clouds part ways and like this red carpet rolls out for us to walk on. And suddenly we feel like this incredibly powerful, confident, peaceful, and completely certain about everything version of ourselves. That's what I feel like a lot of us have in our mind. But no, those bloody fucking footprints leading to the throne, that that is realistically what taking our power back looks like a lot of times. Sometimes the walk to your power, it fucking hurts. Sometimes there's so much grief. Sometimes there is a lot that we have to leave behind. Sometimes it really costs us a lot. Sometimes you finally reach the place that you fought so, so hard to reach, and you're proud of yourself. You're so proud, but you're looking down and you're looking around you and you're looking at everything that happened along the way, and you were like, fuck, that I disappointed these people. Like, this relationship changed. I had to leave this person behind. You may have lost people who only knew how to love the version of you who stayed small. You may have had to release an identity that kept you safe for a really long fucking time. You may have had to make a decision that you know was right, and you still cried your fucking eyes out afterwards. That doesn't make it the wrong decision at all. And I think that's where a lot of us really get confused. We've been taught to treat discomfort like a warning that we're doing something wrong. If a decision is aligned, we think it should feel peaceful. If a boundary is right, we think people should understand it. If we're truly healing, we think we shouldn't feel guilty. If we're becoming our highest selves, we think everything should just begin to flow easily. But the thing is, real life doesn't work that way. Sometimes you know something needs to end, but ending it still breaks your heart. Sometimes you know that you need to say no to something, And your entire body still wants to say yes. Because saying yes is how you learn to stay safe. It's how you learn to be loved and accepted. Sometimes you hold the right boundary and then you still spend the next 3 hours questioning if you were too harsh. It happens. Sometimes you choose yourself and someone you love feels hurt by that choice and they feel like you made the wrong decision and you're being selfish. And that doesn't mean that we get to do whatever the hell we want and call it empowerment either, because I see a lot of people doing that shit too, and it pisses me off. We still have to care about how our actions are going to affect other people. We still have to be able to examine our choices and look at ourselves honestly. One second. I'm trying to watch out for comments on both of the platforms. Um, So if I don't see your comment, I apologize. I'm trying to go back and look, but I'm on two platforms. So just bear with me on that. If you have a question or you want to join in the conversation, I'm so happy to have you join in. But yeah, I'm on two places. So just give me a minute to get with you. But yeah, real life doesn't work like that, right? Sometimes you know something needs to end and it's horrible. It's so hard to end it. Sometimes it takes you so long to actually end it because you're like fighting yourself the whole time. It's a lot. It really is. It can be a lot. So I'm trying to give me 1 second to collect my thoughts again because I got off track. Okay. So, yeah. Anyway, someone having a feeling about the boundary that you set or being disappointed because of a choice that you made or because of a boundary you set. That doesn't make it wrong. That doesn't make you wrong. That doesn't mean that you did something bad. It just it means they're used to something different. Sometimes it's not even a problem in the long run. Sometimes these people will be happy to respect your boundaries, but you've got to give them a chance to get used to it. Like we step in our power and we expect everyone to know what's up. We're like, oh no, you don't talk to me like that. That doesn't happen. And we expect people to just be okay with this new person that we just all of a sudden shifted into. And we haven't even given them warning. Not that we owe them that. I'm just saying to make the transition smoother, to make it a little easier on ourselves, it might be, like we should expect, like, okay, people might get hurt when I initially start acting this way because this isn't the person that they expected. This isn't the person that they're used to. They might see this as me being selfish because they're used to the me that was willing to give anything and everything to everyone. So it's going to take adjusting, and that's okay. But that doesn't mean that you have to hold back either. Sometimes guilt just means that you did something different and it was the right fucking thing. Okay. I have felt guilty about many things that were absolutely the right choice. But I grew up being a people pleaser. I grew up putting other people before myself. So it felt really guilty at first, really shameful at first to start choosing myself, which sucks, but it happens. And then sometimes, too, something else I want to mention is sometimes we're breaking agreements that we actually never consciously made. And we've been living under them for years because someone else made this assumption and we're a people pleaser or we're in survival, so we didn't even notice it. And now we've just been living with this for years. And it's like, oh, wait, no, no. We've got these agreements that say we'll keep everyone else comfortable, even if it costs ourselves or what we need. And when we stop honoring those agreements, people notice it and it's different. Like I said, we got to give them time because there's a lot of people that benefited from it. So sometimes it's not even like this relationship 100% has to end because you decided to set this boundary. Sometimes we just need to give them a little time to adjust to that. So if a relationship only worked because you never said no, what happens when you finally say it? See, if someone was used to having unlimited access to your time, your energy, your labor, or your emotional support, what happens when you decide that access is no longer unlimited? Unlimited. If your role in your family has always been to absorb everyone else's emotions, fix everyone's problems, keep the peace, and be the strong one, what happens when you finally say, I can't carry all of this myself anymore? See, that's what we're really talking about today. Because, like I said, we want to sit here and act like taking back our power is this glamorous, fabulous thing. But the reality of it is, and the reason I'm saying this isn't to scare people, it's not to like make it like, oh my God, life's so horrible. It's because I think we need to be more prepared. I am so tired of seeing the spiritual community just put all this positive bullshit out like everything's going to be okay. Yeah, for a fact, everything's going to be okay. I know that. I know that. But it doesn't mean it's positive all the time. It doesn't mean that shit doesn't get stressful. It doesn't mean that shit's not hard sometimes. And it doesn't mean that things always look glamorous and peaceful. And I feel like with taking our power back, we get sold this bullshit of how wonderful it's going to be. And a lot of times it's actually really hard. And there's a lot of grief around it. There's people we have to leave behind. There's things that we have to change, parts of ourselves we have to leave behind. And that can be really fucking heavy. Like I was just saying, if you were the person in the family that absorbed everybody else's emotions all the time, you fixed all the problems and you stopped doing that. Do you think taking back your power is realistically going to be peaceful? How? Where? Because you have made the a good choice. I'm not going to say right because right, wrong, no, but you made a good choice. You made the decision to set boundaries, to stand up for yourself. That's really important. That's a big deal. That's great. But the people around you are not going to be prepared for that. This is not going to be this peaceful, glamorous thing that you might have imagined it to be. It's going to be a bit of a struggle if you really want to take your power. And I think we need to be prepared for that because you've got this glamorous idea in your head, but then it actually comes down to it. It actually comes to the moment where you're taking your power back and it's like, oh, fuck, this does not feel good and you're not ready for it. And a lot of people collapse under it and they're like, oh, nope, I'll just go back over here and go back to the same shit. And I don't want to see that for you guys because I know you can have so much more than that. You deserve so much more than that. So that's why I'm talking about this today. Because taking your power back, it's fucking incredible. It's amazing. It's really important. And it feels really, really great when you get there. But it is not this glamorous, peaceful, amazing thing that the spiritual community likes to make it out to be sometimes. If you have a family, you probably just shifted the whole entire dynamic of your family. That can feel really fucking messy, right? A lot. Especially like for me, I was in survival for a long time. So my kids were, dang it, I don't actually want to battle today. Of course, I've been wanting to battle, and I finally get a battle invite, and it's like, no, I cannot right now. I've got to talk about this. This is important. I got on for a reason today. But okay, so when I started healing, I've got kids. They were with me through my survival mode too. They were with me when I was more reactive. They have to get used to this new version of me. And it was a lot more messy because it involved everyone else too. So, yeah, taking back our power, it comes with cost. It might come with a little instability and a little chaos at first. But abandoning your power has already been costing you so much already. Every time that you silence yourself to avoid someone's reaction, there's a cost. Every time you agree to something while your entire body is telling you no, there's a cost. Every time you make yourself smaller so that someone doesn't feel threatened by you, every time you know what you need, but you just convince yourself that everybody else's needs matter more, all of that shit is costing you. If nothing else, it's costing you trust in yourself. Because every time you do that, you trust yourself a little bit less. And eventually, that shit starts collecting interest, really. It becomes resentment, exhaustion, so much anger. That is why I got to the place I was. Because I had given so much for so long, put everyone else before me for so long. I couldn't take it anymore. I fucking exploded and I became a whole different person. And like I said, the biggest thing is a loss of trust in yourself because you have repeatedly shown yourself that when you have needs or when conflicts arise, other people's discomfort comes first. You abandon yourself. So the question isn't whether reclaiming your power will cost you something. The question is which costs lead you back to yourself. Because either way, it's going to cost you, whether you stay the same or you decide to take your power back. At least when you take your power back, you get the peace in the long run. It does come. And so let's go into the other thing I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about the dragons because that was another thing that hit me from watching it. And the thing that really stood out to me and the thing that I really love about the way House of the Dragons does their dragons is that these dragons, they deeply bond with their riders. Very, very deeply. But they do not become tame. They allow someone to ride them. They may even listen and work with that person, although Sheep Stealer did not listen at all. But they never forget that this is a fucking dragon, that they're still wild, that they're incredibly powerful, and that power deserves respect. They still know that these aren't just things to be tamed, that they're capable of destruction. And they're also breathtakingly beautiful. Their power isn't removed so that the relationship can exist. And I think that is so important. The relationship has to respect the power. And it made me think about the way that we approach healing. Because a lot of what gets called healing seems really, really suspiciously similar to becoming easier for everybody else to deal with, to me. Yes, there's a lot of really great things now, but there's a lot that I feel like lately I've been coming across that I keep coming across these people that are like no to the anger and being allowed. And like, I'm sorry, but anger is so important and not meant to be shoved down. I have people all the time when they find out I'm a spiritual coach, they're like, "Oh, I love releasing my anger. I don't get angry anymore." And I'm like, "I actually think anger is a really good thing." See, all emotions are valid. Emotions are just a signal. They're just there to tell you that a need is not being met, possibly, or that something is being met and something is feeling good. All of our emotions are valid. I don't consider any single emotion to be a negative emotion. They're all there for a reason. And when we learn to use them to our advantage, we can unlock so much. But I feel like a lot of people are trying to get people to not, like, don't make other people feel uncomfortable and don't be too difficult and just stay calm and be the bigger person and to always forgive. Now let me go. I want to talk about this for a second, the forgiveness and the letting it go. I think forgiveness is incredibly important. It definitely is. Forgiveness has helped me get through a lot. But I did a post in my group the other day, and I asked, I think the question was, what are you, like, not letting other people tell you anymore? What are you no longer, the shoulds that we have? What are you not going to listen to about anymore? And she said that I need to forgive people to heal. And I agree with that, actually. Now, with this person, I'm not saying for everybody, because for me, I needed to forgive to be able to heal because I could not let go of the anger that I needed to let go around it until I forgave. But talking to this person and what everything that they said, I actually believe that they were able to let go of the anger and let go of this controlling their life without just letting it go. Like, they're able to still be angry about it without letting it control their life, without forgiving it, because they're like, that person should be held responsible for this, and I don't want to forgive it, but I don't let it control my life, and I don't let it take my peace or anything like that. And I agree with that. If you can make that work for you, more fucking power to you, because there are things that don't deserve to be forgiven. The forgiveness is not for other people, in my opinion. It's for me. It's not about, like, I'm not letting them back in my life. I'm not letting them have access to me or anything like that. It's about letting it go and not letting it affect me anymore, not holding the anger in anymore. But anyway, back to what I'm talking about, the main point of what I'm talking about. The spiritual community, or not even just that, but everyone, it's like, oh, well, we need to be positive all the time and keep the peace. And sometimes those things are really useful. Yes, being the bigger person and keeping the peace sometimes are the right path. But sometimes we do not need to let that shit go. Sometimes we do need to calm down before we respond. And forgiveness can be a part of freeing ourselves. But I don't believe healing is supposed to be turned into this permanently peaceful, endlessly forgiving, easy to handle people who just accept unacceptable shit with a smile all the time. That is not okay. We deserve respect and peace without, just dealing with everyone else's shit. I don't want to heal so much that I become disconnected from my fire. I don't want to become so regulated that I become submissive. Those are not the same thing to me. And I think a lot of people are kind of mixing up those definitions right now, and I don't like it. So that's why we're talking about this today. Being regulated means that I have enough access to myself to choose my response. Being submissive means that I don't respond because I've learned that my voice, my anger, or my needs are dangerous. Those are very, very different things. See, silence isn't always peace. Sometimes silence is fear with good posture. Sometimes you're saying silent because you're too afraid to say anything. And then you want to be like, oh no, I just, like, why, I'm not going to fight with that. Sometimes what looks like being the bigger person is really abandoning yourself. And then we want to dress it up and call it emotional maturity. Mm, I don't know. Sometimes what looks like forgiveness is really someone trying to rush past their anger because they don't want to be angry anymore, because they don't feel safe enough to admit how deeply hurt they were by something. Like, there's a lot going on right now that I think we need to get really clear on some definitions. Sometimes we aren't letting something go, we're just shoving it down and hoping that it stops mattering. That's how things stay stuck. That's how they pop up later, somewhere else in your life. It doesn't stop mattering. It just starts coming out sideways in all different directions at you. See, I don't want to destroy my anger when I know my anger may be the part of me that's saying something here isn't fucking right. This isn't okay. Do you think that all of the civil rights movements that have happened would have happened if it wasn't for anger? If somebody did not get angry enough to say, I am tired of being judged by my skin color, or I am tired of being judged by my gender, do you really think we'd have the rights that we have today? Anger is a fucking blessing, and it is there for you. We just were taught to shove it down. We weren't taught how to use it right. See, I don't want to lose my intensity or my instincts or my ambition or my willingness to protect the people I love. My ability to say, no, this ends here. I'm not tolerating this anymore. These are parts of us that were never supposed to become tame, in my opinion. These are parts of us that are supposed to be wild and free. But there's also a difference between honoring our fire and letting it burn everything to the fucking ground. Your anger isn't automatically the problem. Anger can tell us that a boundary has been crossed. Anger is really important. It can tell us that we feel powerless, or it can show us where resentment has been growing because we've been saying yes when we really mean no. I keep forgetting I'm supposed to be making sure there's no comments here. Whoops. See, anger has been really, really important for me. I've had to learn that it wasn't a negative thing, that it can show us when something is important that is important to us is threatened, or it can reveal where we've been betraying ourselves, where we've been abandoning ourselves. All of our emotions, they're just there to give us information. It's not there to just give us instructions. And that distinction really, really matters because there's a difference between having power and being sovereign. Having power means that you can create fire, but sovereignty means that you get to decide where that fire goes. We've got so much power, but do we want to just let this power leak out everywhere? Or do we want to, like, laser focus that and go after the thing we want? And that's really the heart of this entire conversation, honestly. I just take a while to get there sometimes, but we tend to do one of two things with our inner dragons. We we either lock our dragon away, and our dragon, that's like our inner fire that I'm talking about, okay? Our power. We either lock them away because we're afraid of what they could destroy, or we let them take over and expect everybody else to run and endure our fire. And I want to talk about the other option that a lot of people don't see. The other option is learning how to lead her. Let me see if my daughter wants something while she's in here. What's up? You just want your cat? Okay, it's fine. My kids just randomly appear while I'm live sometimes. So I'm just like, do you actually need something or are you just here? Because I'm fine with you being here. But what's up? Okay, so back to the option. There's another option that I don't think a lot of people have realized. We can learn to lead her. Suppression says that this part of me is dangerous and that I need to make her disappear. I have to chain her up or kill her. Reactivity says she's awake. Fucking run. Everybody run. Get out of her way. She's going to kill you. It's going to hurt. It's going to be a disaster. She's going to destroy everything. But sovereignty says, I feel the fire. I hear the warning right now. And I respect that this part of me is trying to protect. But I am still in charge and I'm still going to decide what is going to happen next. And that doesn't mean that this sovereign response is quiet. Maybe sometimes we need to burn something down. Sometimes sovereignty is setting a hard boundary. Sometimes it's walking away from something or refusing to keep explaining yourself to someone, refusing to keep giving people access that really haven't earned it. Sometimes it's saying the thing that everybody has been avoiding. Sometimes it's getting help. And then sometimes it is something that genuinely needs to be burnt down. That sucks sometimes. It hurts. That's why I'm talking about like this stepping into our power. It's not always beautiful. Sometimes there's relationships we've got to leave behind. Not every system deserves to remain standing. We've been following patterns and stories that have ran our life and they got you here, but are they going to get you where you want to be? Are they going to get you to the life you want, to all the desires that you have in your heart? Can that version of you do the things and hold the things that you want? And another thing is, not every peaceful situation is actually a healthy situation. But okay, you don't have to tell me you're leaving, goofball. I love y'all. So yeah, sometimes the fire is here because something really, really does need to change. And that's okay too. Because there is a difference between deciding that something needs to end and burning everything around you down because you're hurting. And I can really speak to that because I've really like talking about this is not just like it's funny that this came up for me during at this same time that it did because I'm going through a lot of shit this week. And there's been a few times that I have wanted to burn everything down. And I'm going to go in a little detail about that in a minute. But yeah, but I want to stay on track with what I'm talking about now because I'll get distracted and forget. But I'm going to go into like why I've been wanting to burn everything down lately too. But yeah, there's a difference between deciding that something needs to be burnt down and then just destroying everything around you because you're hurting. One is really directed power, and the other is pain looking for somewhere to go. And that doesn't make you a bad person either. I want us to stop thinking that too, because a lot of things get judged. Hurt people hurt people. There's a lot of things, just like I talk about being the people pleaser isn't your identity, it's a pattern you learned. Guess what? So is narcissism. And a lot of people don't like hearing me say that, and I understand.